If you're out in the field shooting a landscape on location and you're shooting with a tripod and you're doing everything that you can to get maximum image quality, if you find yourself with a situation in which you just can't get enough depth of field, and you can't Scheinflug it in, what I've done is a focus bracketing. Last year when we were shooting in Joshua Tree, we were the cholla cactus.
Cholla.
Yeah, which very,
don't back into
very
them.
Sharp.
Yeah, really.
Well, and you want that to be sharp in the image, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a situation, I did a 3-shot focus bracket, mm-hmm. and then this is the assembled image.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and look at this. This is the close focus, and you can see that it's in sharp focus.
It's sharp and sharp.
But as you go back, it falls off.
Yep.
The next shot is the intermediate focus.
Mm-hmm. Background's not too bad in that.
Yeah, but it's not as good as at infinity. Mm-hmm. You see the background is better there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So then, this is what the 3 focus bracket assembly looks like. Mm-hmm. So let me just back through this real quick.
Right. Now, what you did, just to clarify here, you otherwise balance these shots, synchronize them, whatever, mm-hmm. so that exposure, white balance, and everything is otherwise the same. Or because you shot them at the same time.
I shot them at the same time, and yes, I have gone through in Develop graduated filters to darken mm-hmm. down the sky.
So you did those first?
Yes,
yeah.
And if you want to see what that looks like, I'll just show you very briefly. That's what the image looked like before mm-hmm. and
right.
after.
Okay.
And one of the things I did, which is kind of funny, you notice I've got a little vignetting going on, mm-hmm. which is counterintuitive because a lot of the lens correction tools that you use
get rid of vignetting. I know.
But I kind of like hand of God dodging and burning.
I vignette a lot of shots.
Watch what ends up happening. This is actually pretty funny. Watch the vignette. See, it's there, it's there. The focus stacking actually did the lens correction and fixed the vignette. Oops. So let me go back, and I'm going to show you very briefly how this was done, and mm-hmm. also point out that there were actually a couple of little issues that I had to fix. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go up under Photo, Edit In, Open as Layers in Photoshop. Okay, so I'm not going to open up Panoramic or Smart Object or HDR Pro. Open as layers in Photoshop. Mm-hmm. It'll go through and process the images.
Now, this capability is in CS4 and CS5.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. CS3?
If you have Lightroom 3.4 and Photoshop CS4, no, it won't work. Sorry. You'll have to actually manually open those images and put those together as layers. You need the most current version of Camera Raw in order to be able to do that.
Okay.
It's a good point, and it's one of the kind of disconnects between Photoshop and Lightroom. And
this is
actually
just
dealing
Adobe's
with,
way of getting you to constantly update.
No, it isn't. It's actually Adobe's way of keeping Thomas Knoll looking forward mm-hmm. and not trying to do backwards compatibility.
Right. No, you could go nuts trying to stay backwards compatible as a corporation. Here
are the 3 images. Mm-hmm. I've shift selected them in my layers, mm-hmm. and I'm going to go up under Edit, Auto Blend Layers. And correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't actually done this in Photoshop.
No, I've never done this.
So you're going to actually learn something for a change?
There's lots for me to learn.
Okay.
Just don't rub it in.
I'm going to do the stack images mm-hmm. and the seamless tones and color. Now mm-hmm. that is doing an auto alignment, auto blending, not unlike the Pano Stitch, but this purpose is to basically figure out how to keep all the sharp stuff together. Mm-hmm. There are third-party applications like Helicon Focus.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people who really like Helicon. Mm-hmm. But I think this is the case where there are standalone apps that you'd say, well, gee, I own Photoshop, particularly I own the latest version of Photoshop, and all of the Pano and HDR and focus stacking and all of that is built in. Why would I need a third party? Because some of the third party apps just do that slightly better job because they're dedicated.
Yeah. It's a little bit like having a really good Leatherman with a lot of different tools.
Yeah.
But when you pop open that knife, that ain't a chef's knife.
No.
You know, that's not a paring knife. It's
Yeah.
a single purpose knife. And so professional tools for professional results. So this is the result live. And you'll notice that there are some issues.
Oh, look, the sun is rising over there twice.
Yeah, not so much. So, you know, kind of a problem.
Okay.
It's not perfect.
You're going to have to do a little bit of manual
Yes.
fixing up and
Yes. Which I happen to have already done.
to save time.
Yeah, to
Right.
save time. And what I did was just did literally a little bit of
Little brushwork.
rubber stamp and,
Yeah.
and spot healing.
Yeah.
But you can see that there is no way that with a single f-stop that I could get from a foot and a half in front of the camera to, in essence, in infinity.
What's really interesting here is to look at the mask and how the mask has chosen the cholla in the foreground, the midground, and and infinity, and it's really done a very fine job.
But this up here and this over here are the two problem points.
Yeah.
An algorithm can only be so smart, and it does a pretty darn good job. I suspect Helicon Focus might actually do better. So
You can download Helicon and experiment with it. It watermarks the image, but if you want to see, will it do a better job than Photoshop? Easy to find out for yourself.
okay, let me just check. Yeah, I was shooting at f9, and even stopping down to f16 wouldn't have gotten me the depth of field.
Right. And you just like playing with Photoshop, so
Well, I'm good at it.
you are. Okay, no, that's fascinating.
Okay, so on to more image quality demos.
Yeah, exactly.